You waste your time, my twin. You cannot triumph over a prototype. Here's your look at the Jada toys. This is the Knight Rider's K.A.R.R. Jada Toys presents the Hollywood Rides Knight Rider K.A.R.R 1982 Pontiac Trans Am. Features front scanning lights as well as side opening doors, front and back, hood and trunk. Far out. Far out. Now, while John and Manny may have discovered K.A.R.R and K.I.T.T versus K.A.R.R buried in sand, I didn't have to go in sand to find this. Actually, I found this at Entertainment Earth. It was selling at the time for $27.99, the 1/24th scale K.A.R.R, which is basically the exact same remodeling of K.I.T.T that we've already had a look at. Although it always seems to be the case when I recommend going to a site to pick something up. Yeah, it's currently on back order. Let's take, though, the tape measure and let's clock in how long K.A.R.R actually is. From the back of its bumper to the front of its bumper, you're looking at K.A.R.R being, 8 inches in length, or roughly about 20 centimeters long. The irony wasn't lost on me either that Peter Cullen provided the voice of K.A.R.R, and while being a heroic Autobot, he thought very little of human life when he was actually the voice of K.A.R.R. Speaking, though, of K.I.T.T earlier, obviously K.A.R.R is going to be the prototype model to what we eventually would get with K.I.T.T. Now, this is also as well the return of K.A.R.R. Because of that, he also has now the gray paint down below. When K.A.R.R was first introduced into Knight Rider, he essentially was the exact same model as K.I.T.T, and it was really hard to identify the differences between the two. Being that they are so identical to one another, I'm glad that Jada chose to go the version 2 route of K.A.R.R instead of just the original. Now, not only does the gray change on K.A.R.R, but he also does have his sensor scanner on the front in a different color as well. It works the exact same way, though, as K.I.T.T, so if you're familiar with K.I.T.T, you're familiar with K.A.R.R. Essentially what it is when this is in the packaging, the door's already open. It does tell you, though, that you can try the setting while it's still in box. But unfortunately, though, what they didn't tell you, though, there's a strap right here that prevents the door from opening and closing. If you were to open and close the door, you'll see that the sensor scanner on the front starts to move back and forth. Now, this is also done here in yellow. If we bring in K.I.T.T, for example, K.I.T.T, when you open it up, not only did I notice, though, that the scanner moves faster on K.I.T.T, clearly, though, K.I.T.T is also in red, K.A.R.R is done in yellow. This stays only on for a very short period of time, so you don't have to worry that the batteries are going to drain. In fact, while I'm talking away, you can see, K.I.T.T already extinguishes his light. The make of the model is exactly the same as well. Still has, again, like a Pontiac display, that's this Pontiac design. But one thing I do really like is the fact that now K.A.R.R does have the gray down below. They also did that, I'm sure, as well, that in the show, you could tell then right away who is chasing who. The gray down below is a now welcome change for what we get here with K.A.R.R. And again, outside of really then the sensor, it's a one way to tell right away the differences between the two vehicles. The build of the body is exactly the same. Unfortunately, though, one thing that also gets carried over from the original 1/24th scale K.I.T.T is the ugly looking license plate on the back of the car. For reasons unknown, it just says Knight Rider on the back instead of actually saying K.A.R.R. Obviously, there's no license plate here on the front of the vehicle, but on the back, you'd like to think that they could have had at least the license plate match something. Like K.I.T.T doesn't even have K.I.T.T. It just says literally Knight Rider. It's a really ugly looking sticker as well. Also, the bottoms of the bodies, you can see they're exactly the same. The chassis look exactly the same. K.A.R.R also does have, similar to K.I.T.T, now I wouldn't say necessarily rubber tires, but they're more of a softer plastic. The doors that actually do open up as well. Now, it's only really, Joe, the front driver's side that does trigger, though, the sensor on the front. If you open up the other door, like if, for example, I close this will eventually, again, turn off. In a second. There we go. If you try to open it up on the other side, though, it doesn't trigger the sound. It doesn't trigger the light effects. Speaking of the sound effects, it though would have been nice if they could have incorporated some of the sounds, so it would have actually made the swishing sound. I'm not going to do that, though, for the rest of this review. The interior, though, of K.A.R.R, maybe what we'll do is we'll look at it from this side. You can see the interior dashboard looks exactly the same. It only really has the light effects, though, on the front of the car. It won't actually have it on the inside. So you won't have the reverse little meter that he has. Obviously, K.I.T.'s would have been in red. K.A.R.R.'s would have been in yellow. Has the steering wheel. The steering wheel doesn't move or anything like that. Hopefully, you guys can see okay. Sticker is nicely applied on the inside. It basically has all the same switches, all the same dials, all the same features as K.I.T.'s. The interior also has very much exactly the same. So again, if you're looking at K.A.R.R, you're looking at K.I.T.'s. I think like the seats are maybe just a lighter color on K.I.T.'s. They seem to be more of a lighter beige. While though K.A.R.R, you can see the interior of his car actually has it more of a yellowish beige. But it looks to be exactly the same for interior-wise. One thing it also does open up as well is the front of the hood. The hood opens up so you can see inside. There's a nice sculpted motor. I love the use of the chrome that they've added in there as well. I don't know if that's vac chrome or they just essentially cast this just in a chrome like a silver plastic. It's nice to be able to see that. So obviously you've got the front of the hood that does open and close. The side doors, we already know, does open as well. But on the back of the car too, you can actually open up the trunk. Now that's, again, no different really than KITT. So when we looked at KITT, KITT's does also open up as well. It's the exact same model. You know, while we have gotten already now version 2 kits that have the additional, I guess those are fog lights on the front of the bumpers, I would love to see if they could release a version 1 kit that would have had just a regular bumper. I still feel like with the original release of KARR, and somebody could certainly let me know down below in the comments section, KARR, I think when he was first introduced, would have been using the version 1 Pontiac. Because I don't think it would have had the lights on the front. Which again was somewhat really weird. Then KITT versus KARR, the follow-up episode, The Return of KARR, then would have then used the new bumper. It really should have stuck with the original bumper. Again, you can let me know if that's not correct down below. The KARR does roll obviously very well. It's got some good weight there to it as well because there's some die cast working behind the scenes. Obviously, though, if you're a big fan of Knight Rider and you collected already KITT, you'd have to get as well his foil KARR. I don't know if they're going to be planning to release any more KITT-inspired vehicles. Some of the ideas, certainly, I was already thinking about a Super Pursuit Mode kit. I don't know, again, like, obviously they're going to be basically using the exact same body. They would just have to add the additional pieces that jet out the front or the sides of the car, and obviously the front bumper would have to eject, and then, of course, the back would have to fold up as well. I mean, Goliath would be a really welcome change as well. I don't think they'd ever really consider doing Goliath. They seem to kind of really stick to more car vehicles than truck vehicles, but also the Juggernaut. Juggernaut would also be a really cool vehicle. Basically, what I'm basically just saying is, like, I would love to get some more Knight Rider cars from Jada Toys. I seem to be now more collecting into the 1/24th scale. 1/24th is really an ideal size for me because, again, like, I just don't have a lot of space. I mean, anybody knows, following enough of the exploits of this humble reviewer, this channel, you'll know that there's so much stuff I've looked at here. It's next to impossible to have everything on display. With being that the case, obviously collecting the 1/18th scale, you get a bigger looking vehicle, but it seems like it just obviously takes a whole lot more space. And it seems also, too, that Jada Toys focuses more on their efforts of the deep cut characters, like a character like KARR. They seem to be doing that more in the 1/24th scale than they're doing that with the 1/18th scale. That's why we've gotten cars like, for example, the Mystery Mobile, and like Mystery Machine, why we've gotten as well like the Freddy Krueger car that we see at the end of Nightmare on Elm Street. They seem to be doing a lot more of that in the 1/24th scale. So if you want to kind of have more collections of your cars on the shelves, and I don't mean KARR, definitely I would consider going the route more of the 1/24th. Not only is it better for your budget, but it's better for your space as well. One thing kind of also interesting about the first appearance of Knight Automated Roving Robot, or KARR for short if you prefer, is that the first appearance of him, actually he did have a red sensor, not a yellow. So not only did his return also give him a brand new model of body, but he also had the yellow sensor that we're more familiar with now. Now, I did mention in this review I'd love to get a version 1 kit. I don't feel the need that we need to get ourselves a version 1 car because, again, it can be essentially the same. But at some point, I do hope that Jada Toys considers to go back to the well of Knight Rider and maybe release a version 1 kit that's going to have the pop-up headlights. This version of KARR, though, is one of my favorite designs of the character. I mean, if you look at it kind of a character standpoint and not just the fact that it's a vehicle, KARR was obviously the foil to KITT. I mean, even the first appearance when he sees KARR, he says, that could be my twin. And while this one clearly isn't more of a twin, it's clearly got enough identifiable features that are different from the original look of KITT. One thing that's still a bit of a bummer is the fact that they couldn't get the license plate right. If you're going to spend the time to pick up the license like this, you'd like to think that they could have actually had the license plate correct, that it would have said KITT for KITT, and in this case, KARR for KARR. If you guys are interested, though, to get your hands on KARR, it's available. I'd like to say it's available. Right now it is as a back order, but it was at one point available at Entertainment Earth for $27.99. I know it's been a car that's, well, literally, it's been a car that's been on my list for a while of finally wanting to get. And with the chance that they had the inventory finally available, I added it to my cart before KARR disappeared. What do you guys think of KARR? Let me know down below in the comments section. Have you guys had the chance to pick this one up for yourself? And are you collecting any of the cars, not KARR, but any of the cars that Jada Toys have been producing? If you guys did enjoy this video, do it a solid and throw it a like. You guys want to stick around for more so? I hope so. Hit that subscribe, turn on that bell, and of course come back. Come back. As always, thanks for watching. See you guys next time.